Welcome back. Now in this video, we're going to be discussing using PLR to create a local offline workshop. Now when you purchase PLR, you typically get the content at a wholesale or a distributor price. However, the question is, how will you get people to buy at the real price or the real value of the content that you have, at the $47 or $97 level or even more? And one of the best ways to accomplish this is to use your PLR content to create a keynote or a workshop. Now in this case, what you're doing is you're relying on the PLR to fill gaps in your knowledge of the subject matter. You're also relying on the PLR to give you a head start in creating the presentation materials for your workshop or your talk. The reason this is important is that you want to spend the bulk of your time marketing your workshop. Now there are several aspects of a workshop where your PLR is going to be useful to you. Now first, what you're going to want to do is to have your content to use as a lead magnet for people to join your email marketing list. You're going to make it available to people in order to be the solution to their problem. And because they want to solve their problem, they're going to want to get your lead magnet so they'll opt into your list. The second thing you'll want to do is to have pre-workshop content to engage people while they wait for your workshop. Now, this is a great use of PLR so that you can stay focused on marketing. In other words, you're going to give your users, you're going to give the people who are going to be interested in the subject matter of the workshop something to do, something to think about, maybe a case study that they can apply, or something that they can be working through in their own life or in their own business, whatever your niche is, so that they are engaged with you. They are engaged and getting excited about the workshop, and you can use PLR for that. Now third, you can always use written content for any of the actual workshop presentation. And basically what that's going to mean is that you are going to be able to give your attendees the opportunity to engage with your content. You're going to be able to give your workshop attendees the opportunity to follow you. They're going to either have a document, maybe a PDF, or they're going to have something written in their hands. And basically what this is going to mean is that you are going to be converting your content, whether it's from audio or video or text, into your presentation software. In other words, you're going to be distilling everything down into a PowerPoint presentation that you're going to be not only showing people, but you're going to give them a copy of while they're at the actual presentation. Of course, you can give them a word processing document also. Now fourth, you will be able to use the PLR for any example video that you want to show while you're in the workshop. That works particularly well are hands-on or technical videos that explain processes. Now, when you're presenting, you will at times need a break from what you're talking about. So in other words, people can't process a lot of ideas or new information. They need a break in the routine so that they will be able to catch up with you and really almost exhale to get the information that you're trying to present to them. And being able to show them a video is a good way to keep that content moving and to keep the people engaged. Now you can also use checklists that you get in PLR or mind maps. These are great giveaways as a reminder of your presentation, whether you give them out ahead of time, but definitely afterward. So you've already done the presentation, you've gone through several steps, and maybe it's going to be difficult for the people to remember what it is that you talked about. Well, this is why you give them a checklist on the way out the door, or you email them a checklist that reminds them of your presentation so that they can get a sense for what it is that you talked about and they have it clear in their minds, and then they have you at the top of their mind when you get ready to make an offer. Now, if you brand these PLR checklists and the mind maps, what's going to happen is they're going to be able then to share them with other people when they're excited about them. So if you've given good content during your workshop, you're going to have this branded PDF or this branded sheet of paper, and people are going to be able to share it with other people who may be having the same problem or who may be trying to accomplish the same goal, and they will then be exposed to your brand. Now, what you want to do is to re-image as many of the graphics as you can fit into your audience. And so what that means is that you want to get graphics that are made for the business opportunity niche. So you want to make sure that your graphics frame the overall presentation and even frame the goals of people who are going to be interested in your particular topic or your particular niche. Now, a great way to add value after the workshop is to be able to provide post-workshop content. Now, this you can use PLR for, especially because you're going to be giving this to your attendees, again, as a reminder of what it is you talked about and to continue to give them value and to seed them and get them ready to make a purchase from you. You can also use your PLR as webinar content for those who are unable to attend your workshop live. So maybe they could not attend and get the benefit of what you were presenting. You can certainly do the same presentation, but you can add additional benefits to the online session to keep people engaged in that medium. Now, this means that you'll primarily be using PowerPoint and PDFs to distribute while you speak on the webinar. And most importantly, you can use that PLR to create an offer for the product you're going to be selling after your webinar. So you're going to get these people onto a webinar where you're going to give them mostly content. You're going to give them good information. You're going to show them how to solve some of the problem, but then you are going to be moving them toward making an offer. Now, in some cases, you can purchase an entire solution in PLR, including the front end, the back end product, and everything you're going to need in order to do the presentation and make an offer. Now, of course, it's perfectly acceptable to piece the whole thing together. You can get the offers from one place, you can get the content from another place, as long as it's relevant to the people who are going to be attending and that the offers are going to be enticing to them and really help them and give them value. And all of this is going to be very easy to do inside of any of the affiliate platforms like JVZoo, Warrior Plus, ClickBank, or Zaxa. Now, all the same content can typically be used in the same context for small businesses if the graphics reflect what they'd be comfortable seeing. So you want to make sure that your graphics frame the presentation and frame the offer for small businesses, not necessarily for people who are in the business opportunity niche. And when you use PLR for your workshop, make sure to keep in mind the structure of your workshop. So that means that you're going to want to present part of the content and sell another part. So you've got a piece of PLR or you've got some content pieces. You want to look at that content in terms of which part are you going to present and which part is going to be the offer. Typically what you want to do is you want to tell them what to do in your presentation and then show them how to do it in your offer. That's an easy way to think of the break between how you structure the content or how you divvy it out to put in both offer and presentation. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Now in this video, we're going to be discussing using your PLR to create a coaching program. Now, another great way to use PLR is to create and maintain a coaching program. Now, since you're going to want to have a lot of resources for your customers to learn from, you're also going to want to have resources for them to use. And of course, you can purchase PLR for both of those purposes, both for them to learn from and for them to use. Now, you want to make sure that you're going to get high quality vendors of written content especially. And then when you're using that content to give your students or your customers direction, you may have to tweak that content to fit the customer and the context they're in to move them from where they are at that particular time to the point B that they need to go in. So of course, if that's the case, you can't assume that the content that you're purchasing for your students can be used as is. Again, you've got to fit it not only in the context of your niche and the customer, but also where they are at the present time in your coaching program. You want to take time to prepare before each individual coaching session to make sure that you've created the necessary content to move them forward in that session. Now, in this case, PLR is going to give you leverage from having to do the research as well as creating the components for your students to have for that session. And it is your job to make sure that each component that you give away in that session fits the context of that session. Now, depending on the rights package you buy, you may want to use some of your PLR to give to your students the assets they need in order to execute your method. In other words, Your method is probably going to be different in telling your student to do something than other people or other instructional methods. That means then that you're going to want to make sure that the content fits your method, that it is individual to what you say and what you have been teaching. And as is the case in any method, you want to make sure to use PLR in order to fill any gap in your knowledge or ability to teach the subject. That's always a good idea to use PLR to teach basic subjects that your customer needs to know, but that you don't have time to teach. For example, you may want to talk about a method that requires your customer to have a website. However, you don't want to spend your coaching time on website building. So this is a great time to use PLR videos in order to give to your customer as a reference in case he or she doesn't know how to build their own site. Now, coaching programs are always going to focus on the solution that you sold them in the sales page, and PLR should be used to cover the basic skills necessary to execute that solution. Now, if what you're doing is coaching someone on a specific topic, one of the best ways to get the information for them to prepare for that topic is for you to use PLR. In some cases, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be giving that member content, and then you're going to be tailoring it during your session to fit your program. Other cases, you're going to teach that actual content. And in that case, the best thing to do is to arrange the content into PowerPoint slides for you to present on a webinar or in some kind of online meeting that you're using in order to administer your coaching program. Now, another aspect of providing coaching artifacts is to give your students something to do between live sessions. What this means is that you will need to repurpose components like checklists and mind maps into step-by-step processes. What you'll also want to do then is to think about getting PLR video courses that show those intermediate steps between the points on your checklists and your mind maps. So let's go back to this example where we are going to be considering teaching on building a website, but we don't want to take the time to teach that part of the course. And of course, we're talking about then purchasing a set of videos that would teach us how to set up that WordPress website and use that as a bonus and put that along in our video course. Now, here's the only way that that really works in a coaching program. We've got to make sure that the video we purchase is an extremely high quality program. It's got to really give our students the same level of instruction that we will want them to have from us. We don't want to just give them a video course just for the sake of having a bonus or because it's easy. It's only going to give us leverage if it's at a level of something that we would actually buy, and definitely something that we would want to pass on to our customer. Now, following this, in any coaching program, we want our students to be able to take action on our suggestions. And the best way to do that is to give them the content and components with some of the steps already done for them. So not only are we giving them assets to do, we're going to actually go the next step in doing some of the process for them and giving it to them partially done so that they can have success or that they can overcome some of the barriers that they might have. It's a great role for PLR as long as we have the rights to the component to use them that way. And so PLR has a lot of variation in it that we can actually manipulate in order to give our customer contextually a way to succeed in our coaching program, as long as we're willing, number one, to give them the highest quality, number two, to make sure it fits the context, and number three, to make sure that the intermediate steps are not the things that we focus on, but that we use PLR to bring our buyer up through those intermediate steps to our solution where our coaching takes over. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Now in this video, what we're going to be talking about is using your PLR as a bonus on your sales page for your product. Now you will want to use relevant PLR to act as a bonus for the product that you are marketing or that you are offering or selling. And when you do this, you want to try to find PLR with great graphics. And the reason for this is because you will want to have a graphical representation on your sales page. Again, you want people to understand and you want them to feel the weight or the impact of your bonus. The graphical representation will give your customer the ability to visualize that value. Now, if possible, that graphical representation should be a 3D instead of a 2D or a flat image. The 3D image is more tangible to the viewer or to the customer that you are potentially going to get. That means that you may have to purchase some PLR before you actually need or use it. You want to have it on hand when you're ready to use it as part of the sales process. So if you want to get it ahead of time so that it'll be in inventory or that you'll have it, then you won't be paying as much for it, and you will be able to put it together quickly when it's time for you to put together your own offer. Now, if you make sure to always purchase high quality content, purchasing before you have the need will help toward the content being relevant when you decide to use it. So the best way to make it useful is to make sure that you're really getting PLR that you would want to either buy yourself or definitely you take care to pass on to your customer. Now, having multiple bonuses means that you can add at least 3 to the sales page, and that's really what you should be looking to add. That tends to be the average of people who are selling information products. Now, it also means that you can add a bonus to increase the scarcity of the deal. So in other words, what you're doing is you are going to tell the buyer that the only way they're going to get a specific bonus is if they purchase it before that bonus runs out or before the time runs out. So you are using both scarcity and urgency to your advantage. Now, as the buyer makes their way through the sales process, you want the bonus to help them see the value in what you are offering in total. That value should be clear when they see the graphics as well as how you describe those graphics. Now, when you offer irrelevant and over-the-top bonuses, what you're really doing is devaluing your product, sometimes without even knowing it. Now, most marketers will consider at least 1, but some will commit to at least 3 bonuses. Now, one way to add more than 3 bonuses would be to make one or some of those bonuses time sensitive. These are typically called fast action bonuses. Now, if you're going to market them that way, make sure that they'll be easy to remove from your site quickly and easily during your product launch. Now, we've been saying that if you're going to use a bonus, you want to make sure that they have graphical images and, if you can, 3D images. But you can use a bonus that does not have a graphical image that comes in the package with it. However, you do want to then expend the resources in order to have 3D images created. And you can have those created typically at a website like Fiverr or Scriptlance or Elance. You want to make sure those images reflect exactly what the buyer is going to be getting. Now, lastly, you can display graphics by re-imaging all of the PLR and making it similar to your product branding. So in other words, you're going to take the graphical images that are there. You're not going to use the packaging that came in the PLR. You're going to make all of the bonuses very similar to the 3D images that maybe you have for your product. In other words, everything's going to look extremely branded and extremely similar on your sales page. You want to make sure when you do that your buyers know that they do not reflect on what you're doing with your business. So in other words, the bonuses may not necessarily be at the same level of quality that your product is going to be. You want to make sure that your buyer understands that yes, these are bonuses and that these are additions. They're not necessarily your product. So if you're going to go that route of branding them the same way, make sure that the buyer understands still that these are bonuses and these are not your product. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Now in this video, we're going to be discussing using your PLR as a bonus for your affiliates to use to promote your product. Now, a smart but little used way to leverage PLR is for affiliate bonuses. And that means what you'd be doing is you'd have your affiliate apply to sell your product. Then you'd put together a bonus page for them with bonus products. Your affiliates would get the benefit of being able to offer their customers an added incentive to buy from their affiliate link. You get the benefit from having increased traffic from affiliates being able to be more successful and being more willing to promote your product. You will also benefit with an increased conversion rate because affiliates being able to offer high quality bonus means they're going to get more customers to be willing to buy through their affiliate link when they see the offer. Now, another reason for this high conversion rate is that a lot of the bad traffic is going to be filtered out by that bonus page. Because when they're not sure they really want the product, they're likely to drop out or stop at the bonus page. Now, with fewer interested people coming to the page where the offer is, your conversion rate should be much higher than you thought it might be. Now, in most cases, you will deliver the bonuses from the inside of your members area or on your download page. So you don't have to worry about handing the bonuses over to the affiliate to give them the opportunity to deliver it themselves. Most of the information product creators will handle it by putting those bonuses on the inside of their site. Now, if you choose to go this route, you do want to make sure you qualify your affiliates for that option. So in other words, you're going to have people who are going to come to you. They're going to get the bonuses, of course, under the auspices that they're going to be using them to promote your product. But you don't just want to give away bonuses. And in some cases, you may or may not necessarily have the right permission in order to give them away anyway. And you will also want to make sure that you have the rights to pass on that content to your affiliates. Now, in most cases, you want to have this in place well in advance of your actual launch. In essence, you're probably going to be offering 2 sets of bonuses. One set's going to be on your sales page. That's going to be a set of bonuses you are going to offer to the customers that are coming to your sales page. The other set of bonuses is going to be on a bonus page for your affiliates, but delivered by you inside of your members area. Now, what this does is it makes it easier for your affiliates to get started promoting right away as soon as they see the offer and as soon as they have the opportunity. And of course, as we stated, it also improves the statistics for your product, which in turn could result in more affiliates wanting to promote your product. Now, to start this process, you are going to want to determine what other vendors are doing on behalf of their affiliates. And you can do this by going to a site like muncheye.com and then looking at some of the JV pages. Now, you will want to go one step further in determining what kinds of bonuses are being given to the affiliates to promote those products. You will find that some vendors and some sellers are willing to give the bonuses to their affiliates. Others will give them the bonus page and the images and then deliver them inside of the product. Of course, the latter way is effective because it removes barriers to affiliates being able to send emails to their buyers. So all of these are great ways to use PLR, and once again, it builds your sales, improves your statistics, and can invite other affiliates in directly by improving those statistics. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Now in this video, we're going to be discussing how to use PLR as your webinar content. Now, a great way to use PLR content is to repurpose it as content you're going to be sharing in your webinars. Now, in some cases, depending on what kind of package you buy, you'll have slides already created for you. Now, you can use those slides as your guide to teach on the subject that you're going to be doing on your webinar. Now, in many cases, you will be using the information that you pick up from the PLR to learn the content well enough to teach it on the webinar. Now, this will be important because you want to have the webinar positioning that makes you sound like an expert. Now, one other interesting thing that you can do is to take PLR videos, splice them together into 1 hour of content for an automated or recorded webinar. Now, in another sense, since part of what you'll be doing is to rebrand any of the graphics that you get, don't be afraid to use them to make your slide presentation attractive for your webinar. Now, this is easily accomplished by using your graphics as a background image, faded enough for people to clearly read your message. Now, one of the things that keeps marketers from doing their own webinar is not knowing exactly what to say. Now, most of the time, this is due to feeling less than confident about the content they're presenting. Now, on a webinar, what's most important is the presentation that people are going to be seeing on their screen. It should not look like information that they want to read. Instead, the information should be used as a guide for the audience to follow the presentation. So in other words, it shouldn't look like a word processing document. Some webinar creators use a script, which is a good use for some forms of PLR naturally. Other webinar creators speak extemporaneously without a script, where those presentation slides will be guiding the audience. Now, if you choose to do your webinar in this way, speaking extemporaneous, you will use your PLR to learn your subject matter. You can then use multiple PLR products on the same topic, and in this case, you will be producing something original. In fact, depending on the rights of your PLR, you can easily sell or use your presentation as part of a future information product. The webinars do require that you break up your audience attention with relevant graphics. Now, if you choose to use graphics of any kind in your webinar presentation, make sure that it doesn't overpower the information you're sharing. Now, if you want to use graphics to theme your content, you can again take them and create an opaque background or a very light background on your presentation slides. And one other thing webinar hosts do to keep people engaged to the end is to promise them a free gift. And this is a great use for a PLR product component. Now, you can do the same thing on a webinar to actually get people to attend. You can promise them a free piece of content or something free. Now, if your goal is to sell a particular PLR product as a result of your presentation, you want to give good content while avoiding telling your audience everything they need to know. Your audience's attention span is probably going to be about 20 minutes long at the maximum. Of course, as we talked about in another video, a good way to think about how to organize your content should follow a recognizable pattern. Now, in your webinar, you want to answer the questions why and what to do. Now, in the front-end offer, you should be selling them a product where you'll answer the question what to do in a lot more detail. And then in the back-end offer that you sell them, you want to answer the question, how should I do this? If you choose this framework, you'll want to organize your content along these lines. That means that your webinar, if designed to sell, should use the PLR content, telling them why the topic is important for them to consider. It should then use the PLR telling them what's possible if they learn the content or implement the method that you are teaching. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Now, in this video, we're going to be discussing re-imaging the components of your PLR. Now, of course, you will be rebranding and re-imaging all of the content that you get in your PLR package so that it enhances whatever your unique selling proposition is for your product and or your business. Now, when you are given PSD or Photoshop files of the graphics, you'll be using them along with a graphics editor like Photoshop or GIMP in order to rename the product and or remake the images consistent with your offers, whether they be affiliate or otherwise. Now, when it comes to videos and audios, you can add in intros and outros to make them more consistent with your business or more consistent with the product that you are concerned with. Now, when it comes to documents, you should be branding with your logos, but also with images and colors consistent with the desires of your customer. So in other words, if your customer base tends to like lighter colors or pastels, you want to go in that direction in terms of your re-imaging your graphics and or your documents. Now, in the PLR, if you're given sales pages or opt-in pages or upsell pages as part of your PLR package, make sure that the language is consistent with your offer. You want to make sure that it's saying and selling to the people that you want to actually buy. Typically, a PLR package has numerous opportunities for you to promote your own products and affiliate products inside of their text or document or wherever it is that you can customize the product. As a result, you should always be looking for opportunities to place hyperlinks to your products as well as your affiliate promotions. At the same time, don't turn your written content into a situation where it looks like there are way too many links on the page. Now, the way to think about redoing PLR in this way is to make sure that there is at least one helpful place for all of your links. Also, related to this, don't assume that the PLR has the links in place that you want for your customer. Go over the content and remove any unwanted hyperlinks. Now, one tangible way for you to re-image the components of your PLR is to suggest your own resources. In some cases, you'll get a resources guide as part of the PLR. In other cases, you won't. Regardless, you should always make sure to provide resources consistent with the things that you talk about in your business. Now, re-imaging the components can also mean redoing the PowerPoint presentation entirely, or editing any videos or video clips with graphical imagery on it. Now, the most important decision is your marketing angle, which should determine what your graphics look like, as well as everything else you're going to do with your PLR. Now, when you go over your PLR for the last time, when you're getting it ready for sale or getting it ready for delivery or getting it ready to put before your customer, first, make sure the product looks like it's unique to your brand. Also, make sure the product is unrecognizable as PLR. Third, make sure there's enough value in the product that you would want to buy it. That's even if you're doing it as content. Now, if you can't answer yes to all the above, keep re-imaging your PLR until you can. You want to deliver something that gives your customer a consistent customer experience from everything else they're getting from you. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Hello and welcome back. Now in this video, we're going to be discussing using your PLR to create email and autoresponder content. Now, one of the best ways to use your PLR content is to provide content for your subscribers in your autoresponder. Internet marketers typically send emails out to their subscribers on a daily basis. But it can be difficult to sit down and write something that teaches something substantive every single day. You can easily use written PLR to create a series and spread it out over days while giving your buyer a call to action at the end. Of course, you can also use video content to deliver lessons to your subscribers by loading the content into YouTube and providing a link afterward. You can do the same with audio content, providing a link for a number of days to some helpful content. Now, if you'd rather personalize all of your content that you're putting inside of your email, you're still not having to research the idea if you remake the audio, video, or the writing. Now, this is something that you can repeat throughout the year when you'd rather not create the content that goes in your email or you decide to take time off. Now, the idea with autoresponder content is to keep your subscribers engaged until they're moved to become buyers. Of course, you'll always need to find that balance between evergreen content and the things that people new to your list won't grow bored with. And bringing new content to your autoresponder is vital to keeping people engaged and to keep them opening your emails so that when they do get your offers, not only will they see them, they'll be receptive to receiving them and open to clicking on them so that they can buy. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video.